Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
He needs care and treatment.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Is this a great country or what?
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Tuesday. It means we're brought to you by Daryl May of Remax Partners, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. Last show before Christmas, and you're not going to hear me talk a lot today. I talked a lot yesterday. Today, other people are going to talk a lot. Sharief, Ishaq in 15 minutes on the New Orleans Saints. Glen in 30 minutes. He was at the PMAC last night for LSU Hoops, and we'll be talking about the Texas Bowl with him as well. Colin Jeter going to be with us at 2 o'clock. Denton Day is going to join us at 2:15 today to talk college football playoff, and we will certainly talk about the Tennessee Titans, the New Orleans Saints coming up this weekend with Nick Suss, who covers the Tennessee Titans. We're going to do that in just a couple of minutes, but let's crank things up with our opening drive.
Welcome to the big league.
It's time for Hunt's Opening Drive, presented by Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville.
Let's get things moving here on this Tuesday. It'll be Saints and Titans from Nashville, Music City, USA. Two teams that, as of 3 weeks ago, were very much jockeying for the number one pick in the NFL draft. The Saints have certainly outpaced that as they've won 3 games in a row now. And Tennessee is coming off a win as well. So a couple of teams that have a little bit of good momentum in a season that hasn't featured a lot of that to this point. So it'll be interesting to see how these two rookie quarterbacks face off against one another up in Nashville. Nick Suss covers the Tennessee Titans for the Tennessean, formerly spent some time on the Ole Miss beat. Good enough to give us a little bit of time here on this Tuesday. Nick, we appreciate the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Doing quite well. The Titans beat what's left of the Chiefs last weekend. But look, we're in kind of the same situation. When you get a win in a season that doesn't have a lot of them, you'll certainly take it. What was the energy, the vibe like around the Tennessee team after a victory?
Yeah, I mean, they are a team that definitely feels like these last 3 weeks have been a step forward, which I imagine you guys can relate to.
Yep.
Down in Louisiana, look at what the Titans did against the Browns. Obviously not the most impressive team in the world. Look at what they did to dismantle the Saints. This was the most impressive Titans win of the last 3 or 4 years. And honestly, look at what they did in San Francisco. The offense kept up. The defense kind of let it down against a really, really good 49ers team. But this is a Titans team that has found some semblance of identity and is clinging to it. And you give them credit for that. They figured out how to run the ball. They're averaging, I think, 150, 160 rushing yards per game over the last 3 weeks. Cam Ward's had 2 games with 100 passer rating all season, and they've been the last 2 weeks. They found some semblance of this is what we can do well. And they're feeling the pride of a lot of young players on this team. Cam's top 3 targets are fellow rookies. I mean, it's a point where they trust that they've figured something out. So they're feeling good about it, even if it was against truly a shadow of what the Chiefs have been.
The Tennessee fans want to see them win the last 2 games here, or is it, hey, we want to get as good a draft pick as possible?
I mean, it's a split community. I think there are some people who are really rooting for growth. I think there are some people who are really rooting for the draft pick. I would caution people that I've done a bunch of research on this, and I'm sure you guys have heard or seen this alluded to in the past. If you don't have the number 1 pick, there really isn't that much difference in value between the number 2 pick and like the number 15 pick, if you're talking about actually how good these players tend to pan out to be. So I would tell people that now that the Titans are almost certainly out of the running for the number 1 pick, and that the Saints, I believe, are officially for sure out of the running for the number 1 pick, difference between picking 6th and picking 8th and picking 4th, really not that gigantic. But Titans have a ton of huge holes. They need help at corner. They need help at wide receiver. They need help at tackle, arguably still. They need a bunch of edge rushers. There's a lot they need to do. So if you can trade back, if you can get a draft haul, obviously that's what they want. But you also look at how good Cam Ward can be. If you look at how much development he needs to do, if you can carry over 3 or 4 wins at the end of the season into next year, that's a huge confidence boost for him.
How would you characterize Cam Ward's rookie season?
It's strange to say because, I mean, I came into this year saying that if he can be the 23rd or 24th best quarterback in the NFL, that'd be a solid place to start. He hasn't been that. The last 2-3 weeks, he's been good. There have been times where he's been able to look efficient because he threw the ball a lot at the end of the game in garbage time. But he has struggled on the deep ball. He hasn't been particularly efficient with short passes. He's taken a lot of sacks. He's seemed to kind of have the internal battle of, do I want to take the deep shot or do I want to play within the confines of the offense? There's been a huge learning curve for him, probably more of a learning curve than you'd expect for a guy who played 5 years of college football. But he is starting to grasp the game. So if he continues growing, if he truly has turned the corner in these last 3 weeks and we're seeing the kind of quarterback he can be, he's got a chance to be an above-average NFL starter, which obviously that's not what you want with the number one overall pick, but above average can get you to the playoffs with a good roster.
The Saints right now are struggling to run the ball. Tyler Shuck's having to do a lot of it through the air, and Chris Olave is carrying a huge workload because they don't really have anyone else. How do you characterize Tennessee's secondary at this point that the Saints will surely try to go after?
Well, they're about one injury away from me having to step in back there. The secondary is rough. I don't know if anybody has paid too close attention, but early in the year, the Titans traded away 2 of their starting cornerbacks, and then L'Jarius Sneed, the third starting quarterback, went on IR. So they were already down to 4, 5, 6 there. 5 has gotten hurt recently, and 6 has been banged up for most of the year. So there's a chance they're playing with cornerbacks 4, 7, and 8. In this game, they recently put 3 safeties on injured reserve as well, so they're down to safety, I believe, 1 and 5 or 2 and 5, however you want to say it. And none of that's mentioning the fact that their top linebacker has been in and out of the concussion protocol in the last 2 weeks. So if you are looking to win this game by throwing the ball downfield, you should be able to have some success there. Now, the Titans' pass rush is picked up, and obviously the interior Saints offensive line versus Jeffrey Simmons is not a favorable matchup for the Saints. Right. But if you can get the ball downfield, if you can have the time to give Shuck the ability to find those guys, they should be open.
I'm chatting with Nick Suss, the beat writer at the Tennessean for the Tennessee Titans, talking a little bit about Saints and Titans coming up this weekend in Week 16. So, Nick, on offensively, we've talked a little bit about what the Titans want to do, where their strengths lie, and what Cam Ward has done. What do you think their plan is with working against this Saints team?
I think it's probably going to be run the football a bunch and control the ball. I know the Saints, even as they've been winning, the Bucs had a lot of success running the ball that game. The Panthers had some success running the ball that game. Titans have really, really been trying to build around the run these last 3 weeks. I think they're averaging something like 32, 33 carries a game in that span. Tony Pollard's had 3 straight 100-yard games. I anticipate that that's going to be the formula. They ended up with something like 38 minutes of possession against the Chiefs, and a lot of that was due to the Chiefs running out of weapons on offense and not being able to control the game at all. But that's kind of also the Titans' MO right now, is hold on to the football, sustain long drives. I think it's 6 10-play drives in the last 2 games alone. That's not the kind of football the Titans have played the last 2 years. And if it's something they are confident they can keep up with, especially against the Saints' run defense that has been up and down this season, that's where it's going to start. And then when they need to, they'll break out the Save Us Cam play, and he'll scramble around and he'll throw deep and he'll figure something out. But really the truth of the team will be that it's built around coming downhill.
You spent a short time in Oxford, Mississippi, covering Ole Miss. From the sidelines, what did you think of the month of November in Oxford?
So I spent 2 years in your neck of the woods covering LSU, and I spent 5 years covering Ole Miss. And not a single thing that happened surprised me in any freaking way possible. Those were the most obvious, most telegraphed moves. I think that Lane will be successful in Baton Rouge. I think that Ole Miss will, at least for the first year or two, be able to sustain some of the success with the infrastructure they've built. But man, none of this felt foreign to me. This kind of felt like what LSU can do, and credit to them for being able to pull it off. And it kind of felt like what Ole Miss was most likely to fall victim to. I said a lot while I was down there that the Venn diagram of schools that Lane would leave for and schools that would hire Lane was very, very small in the middle.
Yeah.
And I didn't think LSU was on the schools that would hire Lane. side of it for a long time. And then once they kind of shifted their allegiances in the Venn diagram, made sense to me. Yep. Totally made sense.
It'll be very, very, very interesting. We'll be watching Saints and Titans coming up this weekend. We appreciate some time, Nick.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys.
Nick Suss, Titans beat writer for the Tennessee, and talking a little Saints and Titans to kick things off here on this Tuesday. It's going to be an interesting game because Tennessee has played a little bit better, as Nick mentioned, and we know that the Saints are playing their best football of the year by a long shot. And this is a game that I think the Saints have a real chance to go on the road and win. And, man, would that be awesome to win a fourth game in a row. But if you're the Titans, that's a chance, like Nick said, to get another win after beating what's left of the Chiefs last weekend. Titans really banged up. Hopefully Tyler Ishaq can have a good day through the air against what is a hurting secondary there in Tennessee. We'll talk about things from the Saints' perspective. We'll take a timeout, come back with Sharief Ishaq. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. New year going to be upon us. Looking to make some home improvements in the new year. Well, start with David Duvall. One Bath and Closets, a customized closet. How awesome would that be? You just find yourself not unable to find things, or it's just overcrowded. You got shoes spilling out, suitcases jammed in your closet somewhere. You can take all that out and create a new space. David Vaughn and his team are licensed contractors. They can create a closet, or perhaps it's something on a smaller scale, like you could just need to use your space a little bit more efficiently. David and his crew can do that as well. Just go to the website and check out some pictures of their fantastic work. And right there on the homepage, you can request a consultation. The conversation with David Duvall is free. That part, you just talk about what he can do. They'll put a plan forward, and they'll do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It will look great. It will function great as well. It's One Bath and Closets. Find them online, onebathandclosets.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May, Remax Partners, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. Looking to buy or sell a home? Daryl May, Remax Partners, is a guy you can certainly trust to do that. Another guy you can trust, Sharief Ishaq. He's down in Titletown, USA, home of the hottest team in the NBA, the hottest team in the NFL, the New Orleans Pelicans, the New Orleans Saints. Sharief Ishaq's all over him. Am I correct on that?
I love that you say someone who you can trust. I appreciate you saying that about me. Yes, you're correct about both of those. The Pelicans and the Saints riding the second longest winning streak, and I think the Saints might have the longest winning streak.
Yeah, Denver lost, and they were on a long winning streak. So it could be. I haven't done the research. That's your job.
Me neither. Who cares? The Saints and Pelicans are the two hottest teams. That's all we need to know.
Let's talk about the Saints. What was most impressive to you in the Dome on Sunday?
Well, man, a little bit of everything. The offense starting slow once again, but Tyler Ishaq elevating it in the second half like he did the week before against the Carolina Panthers and getting it done when they needed him the most. He was impressive, man. It was just, 32 passes in the first half and then finishing with 49 pass attempts and 308 yards. I thought he was very, very accurate at times, very commanding of the offense, and very deliberate and getting the job done. That's I think that was the most impressive part with Tyler. And his game continues to grow, Hunt. Each week you see him out there, his confidence grows. And the way he scans the field, the way he's making good decisions. The only thing, Hunt, with him, I think that he would even admit that he has to stop taking so many hits. But you have to remember, he's playing with spare pieces all over the offensive line and good playmakers. And think about that. And he still has gotten it done, especially the last 2 weeks with the lack of playmakers in the offensive line. The defense, I think I saw Luke Johnson's tweet yesterday. In the last 6 games, they have the second best defense in terms of points per game, right under 16 points. That defense, man, they're just headhunting. I know it's the Jets, but they got 8 sacks. They forced 2 takeaways, but they're playing their best ball at the right time. They're in the final stretch of the season, and I think it's all because of Brandon Staley.
What do you think of Chris Olave?
I think he's found his groove with Tyler Ishaq. They've built that chemistry and the connection. the two most important C's when it comes to a quarterback and receiver tandem. And those two guys have got it going on. Just to see what he did in that game with 10 catches, almost 150 yards, and his 2 touchdowns. I know one was for Taysom Hill, but still, he's finding a way to get open. He's finding some separation now, and that's an encouraging sign. He's going to his final year of his contract, the 5th year of the rookie deal, and he says he wants to be here. He wants to play for the Saints for the rest of his career, and I think they will hammer out a deal. It's just going to be what it looks like. But he has certainly been healthy. He's been good when he's been healthy, and he at the podium the other day after the game, he talked about he contemplated retiring after taking that nasty concussion that knocked him out the rest of the season last year in Carolina, and that's. It was scary, but he was able to bounce back and proven to be a very important piece to this offense, and he's helped Tyler Shuck get to this point.
How would you feel about the Saints taking a wide receiver in the first round?
I'd be good with it. I'd be very good with it. They need more playmakers, whether if it's Jordan Tyson from Arizona State. My personal favorite would be Jeremiah Love. They need a running back. They desperately need a running back, and that guy's an absolute playmaker. I mean, even Carnell Tate, the receiver from Ohio State's a playmaker, but I don't know how far those two receivers are going to last in this draft, but they could use playmakers on. They can use receivers. They can use a running back. They can use another tight end. I understand the offensive line argument. They've done that way too much, but it's time to give Tyler some playmakers this offseason.
What do you attribute the lack of a running game to? There are a lot of factors here, but why do you think they're struggling to run the ball?
It has a lot to do with the obvious, the offensive line. You got moving pieces in and out, and you end up with second, third string, and then you have guys who are coming off the practice squad. It's just when you shuffle that many pieces in, you don't have a chance to get continuity throughout the season. And then you don't really have that explosive playmaker. Yeah, Devin Neal was solid for those games, but you don't have that home run hitter. And Alvin's, long in the tooth. He's 30 years old, and he knows that he's up in age and as an NFL running back. It's just there's no real home run hitter in the offensive line. That goes hand in hand. If you don't have both of those pieces working together, it's not going to work for the running game. Now, Tyler Shuck can break the pocket and run a little bit. But imagine if you had a running game and a little bit better of an offensive line, how much more explosive they could be in offense and how much scarier they could be.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the box score. I watched the game, obviously, on Sunday, and then I pull up the box score, and I go, God, this looks even worse on paper than it does on the screen. Half these guys, I didn't even know who they were in August, and they're out there trying to make plays for this team. It's a mash unit for sure offensively. The defense, however, has kind of been a bigger story because of the way that they've played consistently over the last month under Brandon Staley. What have you liked about the black and gold defense?
The pass rush.
Yeah.
The pass rush is getting there. That is, we've talked about that a lot throughout the preseason, training camp, and even to start the season where it struggled. Let's be honest, they struggled to kick off the season. Much better competition, of course, and the competition has not been that great, but at least they're doing what they're supposed to do. They have improved up front, and it always starts in the trenches at each level of football. And just to see, Chase Young, he has been by far the MVP of that defense, what he's done. I want to say his career high in sacks is 7.5, and he's creeping up on that. And just to see what the ageless wonder Cam Jordan continues to do. He leads the team in sacks with 8.5. I mean, it's just unreal. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back for one more year just because of what he's doing so far this year. He's aging backwards, and it's just been that defensive line which has helped make that young secondary even more comfortable. And you're starting to see Jonas Sinker, Quincy Riley, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and even Alontae Taylor get a little bit more comfortable back there and tackling and making pass breakups and interceptions. And and it all goes because of that front. That front has been very good.
In your press settings with Kellen Moore, with Tyler Shuck, with the team, how much has the vibe or energy changed, if at all, over the last 3 weeks, as opposed to what it was when you were looking at a 1-8 football team?
Man, it's changed tremendously. You can see the smiles on the faces, the confidence, the happiness, the laughter, the city rallying behind them, the fans. The fans act like, man, if this season started today, we'd be hosting a playoff game. We'd have a chance to make a run. And it's changed the vibes, man. It's changed the vibes in the locker room. It's changed the vibes in the city. I mean, this is what they wanted. This is what fans wanted. They don't want the tanking, even though we've talked about it so much. Tank and get a higher pick. But I think you look at building for the future, And when the fans see that their team cares, they're going to care right behind that. So I think that you couldn't ask for a better situation. You got the quarterback. Now you just got to put pieces around them. You saw that Kellen Moore, his play calling is improving as well each game. So the vibes are, I wouldn't say immaculate yet, but I would say they're very, very good on the airline drive.
A little bit about the matchup this weekend with Tennessee. Obviously, the Titans have been pretty bad. Cam Ward has not been very good either, but they did beat what's left of the Chiefs last week. So you've got a team that's played a little bit better the last couple of games.
It's crazy to think the Saints might finish with a better record than the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It's hard to say that out loud. But yeah, the defense is once again going to have a chance to get after Cam Ward. He's been sacked more than any quarterback in the NFL, I think 51 times this year. That's going to be the start. That's where it's going to, for another victory, it's going to start with the defense going after the rookie quarterback. And look, this is a chance for us to see maybe the two better quarterbacks of all the rookie quarterbacks this year, which I think Tyler Shuck is by far outplaying all the rookie quarterbacks right now. So it's a solid matchup of two teams that are, playing for the future. And I think the key would be continuing with the defense, go after Cam Ward, and I think Tyler Shuck needs to continue just commanding that offense and slinging it whoever he has out there. Tipton, Olave, Pettis, Jawan, anyone who's left out there in the field for him to throw the ball to, just make sure he just keeps on doing what he's doing. But they do have to have somewhat of a run game with Evan Hall and Estime, Aldrich Estime. And you can't just sling it 50 times a game.
Yeah, the run game's going to be something they're going to have to address probably in the offseason. You kind of are what you are at this point, and I don't think the Saints are very good at running the football, but it is what it is. What would 2 wins mean if they could beat the Titans on the road and then go to Atlanta and win? What would that mean for this season?
The fans are going to go absolutely insane if they finish the season with 5 straight wins, and that final win is in Atlanta against the Falcons. They are going to act like it's the Super Bowl, and rightfully so. I mean, and that's a great sign, Hunt. I mean, it's a great sign for them to get primetime games because it's the first time in almost 25 years you don't have a primetime game. And I think that'll help you get at least 2 more primetime games next year. I think they're going to be back in the primetime hunt next year just because you have that quarterback and you're starting to see a lot of people nationally talking about Shuck and Kellen Moore in this offense. So even another win would help them build toward that future and that momentum in terms of national spotlight. So, yes, it'd be a very good thing to get both of them. But if you get one, it's even better, especially if it's that last game of the year. The
audition for Coach Borrego seems to be going pretty well at this point.
Look, man, take the interim tag off. I know it's still got so many games to go. They have 52 games left in the season, but you can see the difference. It's night and day. It is absolutely night and day for him to take Zion and put him up, make him the 6th man coming off the bench. It has worked wonders for both he and the team closing out games. And I think that's the start. But you're starting to see a lot more effort and team that really cares and playing for James. I mean, they care. They've cared a lot. I mean, the second half were so bad to start the season. And you see the last 2.5, 3 weeks, the second halves have been very good under James Borrego. For them to come back to 25 points against the Rockets, they were down 16 going into the 4th, push it to overtime to win. Yesterday, they're down by 8 points, and then Zion took over in the 4th quarter. So I think you're seeing the pieces and the lineups that are coming together at the right time. And it's a good thing. They're like 4.5 games out of that final playing spot. That gives them something to play for. And I think James Borrego has put them in a spot to keep them striving for a playoff position in the play-in. So it's good. It's a good thing, and I think that's another fan base that showed up last night, and that's one thing James gave credit to the fans that helped them, push through at the end of the game to beat the Mavs.
Vibes are good in the Big Easy right now. Sharief, we appreciate the time, man. We'll talk next week.
You got it, Hunt.
Sharief Ishaq, WDSU down in New Orleans. You're a resident New Orleanian here. I mean, well, actually not. Both of you are. I'm just the outsider in that from that perspective. But we feeling good?
I'm trying to contain myself because I don't want to come out. I'm about to say, yes, I'm feeling good. Of course, man. 5-game win streak. You
love Miss Gale. She's got it all figured out over there.
I can't do it. See, that's why I want to control myself. I knew you was going somewhere with that. No, I can't do that. Well, yeah. Now, if we make the play-in and Shuck is the guy next year, you know what, Ms. Gale? I apologize.
People are buzzing in the chat on the Pels. They're fired up about the Pels. 5-game win streak.
It's crazy because they used to boo me off the air. They'd be like, get this guy off the radio. He's talking about the Pelicans.
Our Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May of RE/MAX Partners. Step aside, talk with Glen West. We'll talk Tigers next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com is the website. Might have a whole crew, whole family coming in over the next couple of days. If that's the case, looking for something to do, Swing Easy Golf Club is a great place to hang out and spend some time with folks you enjoy being around. Involve a little bit of golf. They got great individual bays. You walk in, they got all your seating there, got the music. You can crank up whatever you want. Turn on that simulator. You can play Pebble Beach, TPC Sawgrass. You can play, well, they play that famous tournament every April. You can play that too. I love doing it. I think it's a blast. It's incredibly accurate. You can chip and putt, and it's just a lot of fun. You can take mulligans if you want to. Just real easy vibes to get into some golf. You can be a scratch player or a beginner. Doesn't matter. You're in there just having a little bit of fun on the simulator over at Swing Easy. They've got beer. They've got wine. They've got seltzers. They've got television for you there as well. So just go hang out at Swing Easy Golf Club. It's a great place to do so. If you're looking for a late Christmas present, swing over by. It's on Segan at Perkins. Get a membership for the golfer in your life, for the person who's picking up golf in your life. They can spend some time over at Swing Easy working on their game in the months where it's kind of hard to do that because it gets dark really early and sometimes it's cold, even though right now, not cold at all. Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. Segan at Perkins. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Daryl May, licensed realtor in Louisiana and Mississippi. You can find him over at Remax Partners. DarylMayProperties.com, DarylMayProperties.com. Looking to buy or sell in Baton Rouge, anywhere, Louisiana or Mississippi. You can be next in line for Daryl May of Remax Partners. All right, let's talk to Glen West, Go 24/7 senior writer, covering the Tigers. Glen, how are you, sir?
Doing well, Hunt. How about yourself?
I'm all right because I didn't really watch a lot of the first half of that basketball game last night. And, well, statistically, it was a disaster. I looked up. Yeah. LSU had 50 points, had shot north of 20 free throws. And you figure, okay, at that point, you're in cruise control. They were losing at halftime because they gave up 10 threes before intermission. What did you see in the PMAC last night?
Yeah, if you love free throws, you would have loved last night because LSU set a program record with 43 of them by game's end. But, look, it was just not a very clean start for this group. I mean, it's the second non-conference game in a row where they've really kind of struggled out of the gate. And I think this was more to do with the Prairie View than it was LSU. I mean, these guys came in just firing just flamethrower shots. I mean, they were just throwing up everything in the first half. And it was coming out gold. Darion Joseph, the former Scotlandville guard, plays for Prairie A&M. I believe he finished with like 34 points, but he had probably 25 of them in the first half alone. He was just absolutely lighting it up from downtown. They went 10 of 13 on threes in the first half. And I don't think it was all bad defense from LSU either. I mean, they were in these offensive players for a little bit. And just everything that they put up just went in. And so, Prairie View comes out and shoots nearly 70% in the first half. They shoot nearly 80% from three in the first half. And so you didn't think that those numbers were going to sustain for 40 minutes. But it was certainly an alarming half for LSU from a defensive standpoint. But they were able to kind of lock in and hold them to under 30% shooting in the second half to really kind of pull away and really come from behind, though, and win that game. I mean, they were down by as many as 10 in the second half, so they were able to really kind of dominate the paint, dominate the free throw line, and that really propelled them to this win. But it was definitely not an easy start to this game for LSU.
I'm cherry picking a little bit here, I admit that, but let's just flesh it out. You saw Texas Tech go on a flamethrower to start that game in Fort Worth, and then you saw the same thing from Prairie View in this game. That's two of the last three games for LSU. Is there a concern with guarding the three-point line, or is that just two halves that went the way they did?
Yeah, I think there's probably a little bit of a concern there. If you're Matt McMahon, I do think they have some, they don't have a very lot of athletic, guards, big, long, athletic guards. I mean, Max McKinnon's your two guard, and he's going to play 25, 30 minutes a game, and he's not the most athletic guy. De'Don Thomas is a little bit on the smaller side. I think you're asking, Markel Sutton, who's, 6'8", 6'9", who can move a little bit, but is, really maybe not your most athletic side-to-side mover either. I mean, I think the lineup that they run out there is a little bit more susceptible to giving up some open shots from deep. But they've done a really nice job, I think, of being able to complement that with being able to score on the other side in the paint and being able to really dominate those opposing teams from an offensive standpoint inside the arc and get to the free throw line. So I don't think there's going to be any major changes to this lineup going forward, but I do think that certainly when SEC play comes around, they're going to have to lock in defensively because these teams are getting off to a little bit of a hotter start against them here of recent. And I think probably that has to do a lot with just them getting put into rotation because maybe they're just not being aggressive enough on the ball, and that's going to create certainly some issues if you're in SEC play, and some of these things continue to be an issue.
Yeah, they just don't force any turnovers at all. They do not get deflections. They do not get easy transition looks. They're really good on offense, but they don't create easy offense with their defense. And I'm curious to see if that catches up to them in SEC play. Now that we've essentially got the entirety of the non-conference slate behind us, I got one more with Southern Miss, obviously. What's your overall impression at this point as they get ready for league play?
Yeah, I think they're better. I think they're improved. I'm still going to go back to something though that I said in the preseason. It's just how much better are they going to be in league play this year? I think that still remains a very interesting question because we don't have a huge sample size of them playing this kind of competition. We have the Texas Tech game where they were out of it by 10 minutes into the game. And then we have the SMU game where they played very competitive for 40 minutes and controlled that thing from start to finish. And SMU is going to be a team that you certainly look at and say that's got a chance to be an NCAA tournament team. So I think the front part of LSU's SEC schedule is where we're really going to learn a lot about this group because I do think it's probably the most attainable in terms of wins and losses. You got to get off to a hot start in January because it gets really, really tough in February and March for this group. But I think that they have an established playmaker in Deon Thomas, who is probably one of the more underrated point guards in the country. I think that they have some capable post scorers in Michael Nwoko and Markel Sutton, and I think the big thing though that's going to tell us a lot about this group is how much they're able to complement that with the outside shooting. I thought it was really important to see Rashad King have a good game last night. He had 13 points and a couple threes. Jalen Reese had a nice game off the bench as well. They need some more complementary shooters on this team to really help support Max McKinnon and certainly Deon Thomas's playmaking. And I think that could be the biggest thing that separates this group from winning 5 or 6 games or winning 9 or 10 games in league play.
All right, let's talk a little bit of football while I've got you here. Anything that is your interest piqued about Saturday at 8:15 in the Houston Texas Bowl?
Yeah, I think so. I think the defensive side of the ball is where I'm most intrigued, just because I think that's the side where if you're LSU, you have the most opportunity to retain a lot of your core pieces, guys that are going to come back and potentially be big boosts for you next year in 2026. So obviously getting B.J. Pickett and P.J. Woodland a full game together as 2 starters at cornerback, that'll be really interesting. You got Marcus Cooley and Deshaun Spears back there at safety. That could very well be your starting safeties next year. I think at linebacker, there's some very interesting names with the Weeks brothers not playing, Devon Keys, Tylen Singleton. But I did a piece yesterday, and I was actually able to get a hold of Blake Baker for a little bit. And I'm interested to see kind of what these freshmen look like. I mean, he was telling me yesterday that, that they have the talent, they have the ability, and it's just about having that opportunity now on the field. The Charles Rosses, Jaden Breakers, Zach Weeks, Keelan Moses, all those guys that they signed in that 2025 class now have an opportunity, I think, to see some extended playing time in this game. So linebacker will be a very interesting group for me to watch. And obviously offensively, what you're able to do with Harlan Berry and Trey'Dez Green, I think will be very interesting because those are 2 guys that you want as pillars of that offense next year. So I do think there are some interesting angles to this to watch from a player perspective. On the field, I mean, there's really not a whole lot that you can, I guess, glean from the results of this game, but you can certainly watch these guys and watch kind of the development and maybe some of the give these coaches a little bit of an early scouting report on what they have to look forward to in the spring.
Sounds like, based on what you said there, that LSU's, because of the continuity on the defensive staff, you feel like there's going to be a reasonable amount of continuity with player retention on that side of the ball. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I think so. I think that they've done a really nice job of communicating that. I think those conversations are still ongoing with a lot of players on this current roster, but I would expect probably the massive overhaul to come on offense and maybe not quite as much on defense. I still think you probably will see a few defensive players hop in the portal between now and January 2nd, and certainly when the portal opens. But I don't think it's going to be a massive, where you're going in and having to get 10, 11, 12 defensive players. I think if you're able to retain some of your roster on that side of the ball, they're still young in a lot of areas on that D-line, in particular at linebacker and certainly in the secondary. If you could just complement those guys with 5 or 6 quality starters, I think you're in a really, really good spot defensively going into next year for Blake Baker.
Appreciate you, Glenn. Have a great holiday, and we'll talk next week.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Hunt.
He is Glen West, senior writer, Go 24/7, team coverage, recruiting coverage. They got you covered over there at Go 24/7. Always want to tell you about friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. They bring you the opening drive each and every day. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville, just north of town. Been under new ownership there with the Fabry family since October the 1st. That name should sound familiar to you. They've been in business for 35 years, and they're synonymous with just incredible customer service. Now they are proud to be a Chevrolet GMC dealer up in St. Francisville. If you're looking for a new vehicle to start 2026, you want a new Chevy Tahoe, Chevy Silverado, maybe a Suburban, they've got them on the lot right now. If you're looking for the GMC side, they've got Sierras, they got Yukons, they've got Denali's. They got it all. It's a huge inventory, and you can see every single vehicle that's in that inventory online at FabryChevrolet.com. Make the short drive up to St. Francisville. If you're in the area, stop on by. They've just been open under this ownership since October the 1st, and they are glad to help you out with your new vehicle needs here in early 2026. Fabry Chevrolet GMC in St. Francisville. Find them online at FabryChevrolet.com. Still chugging along here on this Tuesday. I know it's a busy travel day for a lot of folks. Palmer family's going to be hitting the road here in a couple of hours north for Sharief. So if you're on the road, please be careful. Appreciate you making us part of your travel plans. Our Tuesday shows are brought to you by Daryl May of Remax Partner. We'll come back and close out hour number 1. I'll give you a thought or two on LSU basketball, as well as some things Glenn said about football there as well. So come back with us. Close out hour number 1 on Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing. LifetimeRoofingLA.com is the website. They want to make sure that everyone is aware of this because it's an unbelievable deal. Starting on the 1st of January, Lifetime Roofing is offering a lifetime workmanship warranty on their roofing. Lifetime workmanship warranty. It's incredible. Take every advantage of that over with the folks at Lifetime Roofing. They wanted also to be sure that you're aware that there are financing opportunities available, not just for whole roofs if you want to do that, but you can also finance your deductible if it is with an insurance claim. So, need to finance those? They're happy to help you with that. 18 months, 0%. 18 months, 0% if you need a little bit of help financing that new roof. And it's not always a new roof with the folks at Lifetime Roofing. You can also do roof tune-ups where you just have a bit of a facelift for the old roof and not just a whole roof replacement. They'll make sure that you do what is best for your current situation. It's because they care. It's a great new company. Started up in 2021. Got a gorgeous new facility there in 2023 just off of College Drive, and they're happy to help you with all your roofing needs. It's Lifetime Roofing. You can find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Daryl May Remax Partners. Looking for land to hunt or build? Call Daryl May Remax Partners. This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Quirks, Cajun fried fish and shrimp.
Little Christmas tradition last night. Poured myself a beverage after the kids went to sleep. Watched It's a Wonderful Life. Incredible stuff.
Do you feel like, I mean, you already told us what your favorite Christmas movie was, so never mind.
It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, you already told
I bet
us
you haven't watched Home Alone.
I definitely have not, man. I've been locked into this win streak, bro. It's like the people, I gotta get the people what they want.
You're getting your Christmas spirit from the Pelicans this year.
You know, I never thought I would say that, Well, but here we are. We're here.
Zion's jolly.
We'll see, but he's somewhat jolly. I mean, I think he's just being a good teammate, but, we'll see if he really likes coming off the bench. But
I do have to say this, speaking of Christmas. I wrapped a gift earlier this morning.
Yes.
There cannot be anyone in the continental U.S. worse at gift wrapping than me. This gift looks ridiculous. It's a simple square box.
Oh, no.
And my wrapping is, I got tape stuck everywhere. There's like fringy edges all over the place. I'm cramming paper around, cutting scissors with weird lines. I have no idea what I'm doing. Now, the goal was accomplished. The gift is covered up. You can't see what it is, but it looks ridiculous. There's like 15 presents under my tree right now, and my wife and my aunt have wrapped most of them, and they look great. Yeah. And mine just looks like a third-grade art project. It looks terrible.
I hate to say it. I kind of like those gifts the most, the ones where the wrapping's kind of messed up, because it means like this could be is it a wild gift, though? Like, is it a cool gift?
It's not that cool.
Oh, never mind.
It's not that cool. It's I believe it will be well received.
Okay.
I took a little time to personalize it, but
okay.
it's not earth shattering in any way. I don't even know why I'm tap dancing around. There's 0% chance my wife is listening currently.
Oh, okay.
But maybe somebody will text her that is listening. But yeah, it's if the scale of 1 to 10, like last year, I got her a gift that was very well received.
Okay.
She was pregnant, and during the pregnancy, she was craving like ice from like Sonic, that special kind of ice. And I got her an ice maker that went on the counter. She started crying. She liked it so much.
Dude, that's the best
now,
ice.
Then she had the baby, and she wasn't pregnant anymore. And she didn't crave it anymore, and she didn't really want to clean it, so she gave it away. But for the 3 months that she had it and was pregnant, she loved it. If that's a 10, if that's what we're working off of. She cried when she got it. That's how much she liked it. This is a 5.
Oh man,
this is a 5. But the wrapping is a 0. It's an awful effort.
Well, on the bright side, I mean, she might not give this away.
She can't. She's not giving this away.
Okay.
This one would not work for just about anybody else. It is personalized for her, so it's not going to work for anybody else.
Hey, that's all that matters, man. It's going to stick.
I'll talk a little bit of basketball while I have 5 minutes here. LSU played Prairie View last night. If you tuned in at 7 o'clock, because I told you the game was at 7 o'clock on the air yesterday, then you missed the first half because the game was at 6, and I just didn't look. I just assumed it was at 7 because they've all been at 7 thus far. It was at 6. Prairie View, I could not believe the stat sheet when I pulled it up at halftime. In the first half, LSU scored 51 points, so on pace for 102. They scored 51 points. They went 19 of 22 from the free throw line. That's 86%. They made 6 of their 12 threes. It was a great first half offensively for LSU, and they were losing to Prairie View A&M out of the SWAC. Why? Because in the first half, Prairie View shot 67% from the floor and went 10 of 13 from the three-point line. They were just going in from everywhere. And so there's a little bit of nuance to this. The nuance is sometimes guys just make shots. They hit a couple of step-back contested threes late in the shot clock. Sometimes guys just hit shots, and there's not a lot you can do about it. Then there's the deal where this has happened to LSU a little bit, where teams have gotten hot from the three-point line. Texas Tech was blistering, and Prairie View was blistering, and LSU hasn't been able to extinguish it quickly enough. This lasted until it was 25 minutes of basketball before LSU got clamps on what I believe to be likely the worst team on their schedule. Prairie View, coming into this game, had one win against a D1 team. The rest of their wins were against schools I've quite literally never heard of. Paul Quinn College is one of the teams they've beat. I can't give you much on Paul Quinn College. But this is probably the worst team on LSU's schedule, and they were just sizzling. And you allowed them to score 90 points in this game. 90. Now, it was better in the second half. They only scored 34 points in the second half. In the second half, they shot 30% from the floor, only went 2 of 8 from 3. Like, you did cool them off, but it took too long. And I have concerns about LSU's defense. I do. They do not create turnovers at all, and they're not overly strong defensively. They have some pieces. I think that Mike Nwoku is a quality defender when he's on the floor, but he gets in foul trouble sometimes, and they never play him 30 minutes in a game. I think that you've got Markel Sutton and Rashad King who have some ability defensively. Pablo Tamba is long and rangy and has some ability, but you're not particularly good in the backcourt defensively. De'Don Thomas is not a premium defender, and neither of the guys you play at the 2, whether it's McKinnon or Carter, give you a ton defensively. Jalen Reese played some good defense last night, and he got a lot of minutes last night, which I enjoyed. But this is not a great defensive team. I believe LSU is a good offensive team. I think LSU is going to score on some SEC teams. Now, they did not on Texas Tech, and that's a little concerning because that's the best team you've played thus far, and LSU did not score a lot. But I think LSU will be a top 7 SEC offense in league play. Defense is going to be the bugaboo, and I'm a little bit concerned about it. It was bad last night. Some of it is Prairie View hitting shots. They're just not usually going to hit, and they made them. And LSU's defensive game plan was going to likely be to allow a little bit of shooting because Prairie View was in the 350s when it comes to three-point shooting. Coming into this game, they've been awful all year. So there's a part of you that is going to give them those shots because you know they're not very good at it. But then once 3 or 4 go in, okay, let's go play some defense. And it just took too long for LSU to play defense. However, they avoided the disaster. You won the game. You won it by double digits. No one will ever look back on this and go, oh, well, LSU was losing by 10 points in the second half against Prairie View. It doesn't matter. I believe, this is a subjective thing, but I believe LSU is most likely to be a bubble team. I don't think LSU is going to win 11, 12, 13 league games. I don't think they're going to win 5. I think they're going to win 7, 8, 9 league games, and that would put them right on the bubble. And if you were on the bubble and you got something like this on your resume, like where you go sideways and lose a game to Prairie View, it's a big deal. But they came back and won the second half by 19 points, and it's not a big deal. It's the result of the game is gone. It doesn't matter. The concerns I have defensively about the way LSU played, those are not gone. And they're going to have to be better defensively than they have been at stretches in the non-conference. There will be nights where teams make shots, and that's just part of it. But that was a little bit much last night to watch Prairie View score 56 points and a half. Got to be a little bit better than that. That'll wrap up hour number 1 here on this Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. We'll pause for national headlines, come back, and talk to Colin Jeter from the Alumni Association. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is that website, HighlandIG.com. Look, I tell you about property and casualty all the time. I want to make sure that we drive home the fact that the Highland Insurance Group is happy to help you out with benefits as well. If you're a business that is looking for a different health care plan, looking to change up the benefits that you've got for your employees, I know it's a big deal to acquire talent and to retain talent to have a great benefits package. If those premiums are creeping up and it's becoming untenable, which is happening with one specific carrier in the marketplace, call the Highland Insurance Group, call Jonathan Carbo and his team, and let them be a second option for you on the benefits side of things. They've got a great department over there that does nothing but benefits, and they're happy to sit down and just be a second option for you. They can help you out statewide in the state of Louisiana. They're based here in Baton Rouge. It's Jonathan Carbo and his team at the Highland Insurance Group. I want you to make sure you can find them online at HighlandIG.com. Property and casualty and benefits. The Highland Insurance Group online at HighlandIG.com.